If you have a desire to become a better version of your current self, then this podcast is for you. I share with you helpful thoughts, tips, and stories surrounding fitness and self-improvement which you can apply to your life today. So for those of you that want to take control of your life, to learn, to grow, to become that which you desire most, I am your host, Connor Malone, and this is the pursuit of constant improvement. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 of the most important lessons that I have ever learned and applied into my life. Now, I mean this with no exaggeration, but these 4 things totally changed my perception of life and how to live it. And because of that, have totally altered the trajectory of my life in terms of the position where I am now and where I'm going to be ending up. It's honestly, this is something I've really looked forward to. The idea of this video came from a piece of content I created. I posted it on Instagram, so if you don't already follow me there, make sure to follow me. Connor Malone PT is my Instagram handle. But this piece of content I put up, I made this video and I thought, yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. And then the feedback I got from it was amazing. It was like people, they could relate to it. They're like, holy shit, I totally get that. They loved it. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to make a much more expanded version of that. I'm going to expand this into this podcast episode, and I'm going to share with you those 4 lessons, which, as I said, totally changed my life. Because people say this all the time, right? But to give you an example, when I was 16, 17, all throughout my kind of early adult life, in fact, I was very low intelligence, low confidence. I was bang average at everything. I didn't really have any ambitions. I was somebody who you would look at and think that they would be totally average in life. They would never do anything special. They would never push towards anything. They weren't particularly ambitious. And I've totally changed that in the sense of now I'm a very ambitious person. I'm a very confident person. The things that I do on a day-to-day and a week-to-week basis are things that if I had to look back, if I was 16 or 17 and to see what I'm doing today, I'd be astounded. And it makes me really proud to say that. And I'm going to share exactly how I have changed that. Because right now, again, I'm not claiming to be anything special, but I'm working towards a position where I'm going to be over the next few years. I'm going to continue to work on my craft, and I'm going to continue to become an expert in my field. So the future, the belief that I have in myself, that alone is something that I'm incredibly proud to have, because I know what I'm going to be like in the future. I know the type of things that I'm going to achieve. And as I said, this has all come from these 4 main lessons that I've learned, because that belief that I have now in myself, it started maybe when I was around 19 with my own self-improvement journey. And what that started to do was change my perspective on life. It changed the way that I perceived things, my outlook on life, just my overall perspective, which is so important, because when we change our perspective, we change our actions. And when we change our actions, we change our outcomes. If you do not change your perspective and you have the same fixed mindset, you'll never change your actions. And if you never change your actions, your outcome will never change. It's like when people think of the law of attraction, but the only aspect of it they think of is like, oh, if I think in this way, or if I hope for this, or I wish for that, I'm going to achieve it. That's not going to happen unless you change your perspective and you change your actions to be in alignment with that. So again, there needs to be more work than that. And essentially, the way I explain it is, if you see shit differently, you act differently and you get different results. That's the one thing I want you to take from this episode. My goal here is to make you aware of these things, to make you aware of them so you can change them. Because again, when we gather that level of awareness, we can start to make change, which is really well summarized by this quote here. It's by a guy called Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's from a book called, The Four Agreements. And what he says is, awareness is the first and essential step to change. We need to be aware of the problem to solve the problem. And as I said, it all comes from awareness. Like if you are aware of the fact that you're not in a position where you want to be and that you need to make change, then you can make that change. But until you get to that position, you'll be stuck like everyone else. Because so many people do not have that level of awareness. They think the world is a terrible place. They think they can never change anything. They think the situation they're in now is the situation they'll be in forever. They blame everybody else. They never take any responsibility. That's fucked. Like when I look at that, that's totally fucked. They do not have any level of awareness, so they're never going to make any form of change. So the first step to making significant change is that level of awareness. And you're listening to this podcast for a reason. You're not that type of person. You're the type of person that is aware of the fact that they want to become better. They want to make change. And you can start with these 4 lessons. You might not absolutely love all of them, but even if you take the slightest bit from these lessons that I'm about to share with you and you start to apply them, you can make significant progress in many areas of your life. Now, the very first lesson is do the things that you say you are going to do. If you watch any of my content, maybe if you speak to me on a regular basis, you've probably heard me say that a lot, and there is good reason for it. So nothing will make you feel more confident than following through on your word. It's one of the rare things nowadays. It's what helps us gain trust in other people. If you follow through on your word, you gain self-confidence. If you follow through on your word with other people, they begin to trust you because they see you as somebody who, again, follows through in their words. That's how trust is gained. So trust in yourself, that's where self-belief comes from, and also trust from others, which is two things that we all want in life. We all want to build meaningful relationships, which come through trust. We all want to be confident in ourselves, which again comes through trust in ourselves, that we will follow through on our actions. So it's one of the most critical things I've ever done. So rather than telling other people about all the things I was going to do, I started to tell myself, this is the thing you're going to do today. This is the thing you're going to do this week. These are the things you're going to aim for. And see, as soon as I started to follow through on those things, my confidence went through the roof because I started to do the things I said I was going to do. Now, if you think of the people that you admire most, the people that you maybe gain inspiration from, you look up to, you'll probably find that that's those type of people. They follow through in their word. They get shit done. They achieve a lot in life because they follow through in that word. Now, it's all good and well saying that. It's like, oh, follow through in your word. But there's a lot of things that we do that is almost self-sabotaging that stops us from following through in our word. And it doesn't come from a bad place. It often comes from a good place. Like if you are naturally the type of person who wants to help others and wants to do everything they can for other people, you're going to commit to doing a lot of things for other people, which means that you're going to struggle to follow through in your word with absolutely everything. So you might prioritize in helping other people and accepting everything. If someone says, can you do this for me? Can you do that? You just say yes without even thinking about it, which means you don't have time to focus on you, maybe do the things that you need to do to become better. So then you don't fulfill the promises you make to yourself. So then you don't gain self-confidence. Everybody else trusts you, but you don't have your own level of self-confidence because you do what everybody else wants you to do, but not what you say you're going to do. So that's a really important factor. So one of the ways we can change that is by committing to less. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a bad person. It just means you don't accept absolutely everything. If you get clear on what it is that you want to do and how to get there, then you can start making clear decisions like, right, this is going to help me push closer towards that, so I'm going to do this. And this isn't, so I'm not going to do that. Again, commit to less. Another thing on top of that is just know what you want. So when you combine those two things, it's very powerful because you can't commit to less if you have no idea what you want. Like so many people just accept everything. They're like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll go here, I'll go there. Because they don't have anything to guide them. They have no idea where they want to be. So how are you going to become that type of person if you don't? So that's two things I would say to help you become the type of person that does the things they say they're going to do. Get clear on what it is that you want and start committing to less. Commit to the things that are really important, the things that are really going to push you towards the type of person you're going to be. If your goal is to be the most charitable and helpful person in the world, then amazing, then you're going to accept everything that everybody else wants you to do. But if you want to have a combination of that, you want to be kind, you want to be caring, but you also want to be disciplined, you want to be ambitious, you can find balance in that. You just have to make it clear what are the things that I'm going to accept and what are the things I'm not going to do from there. Because the truth is, you cannot do everything. And if you try to, you're setting yourself up for failure. And you're going to lose confidence either in yourself or from other people. Because there's so many people I know in business that are really good at following through in their word with business, but they can't do it with their partners or their family or their friends. They're really unreliable. So again, that's a balance. That's maybe the choice they've made. They've prioritized their business more than they do other relationships. Again, that's up to that individual person. You can have balance though. You just need to make it clear what relationships are a priority, what form, what part of your business is the priority. Then you can make decisions based off of that. Then you can start to do the things that you say you are going to do. Now, in terms of how it affects our own self-confidence, I mentioned this already, but it comes from the small promises. It's not necessarily the big things, because the big things, if you don't push through and do them, you're like, well, it was a big goal anyway. It required a lot of work. It's the small things that eat away at you over time. It's the saying that you're going to, I'm going to start going to these classes. I'm going to start tracking my calories. I'm going to do that washing. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to clean my wardrobes. I'm going to delete these apps. I'm going to start talking to so-and-so, or I'm going to spend time with this person. When you don't do these things, these small wee promises you make to yourself, they eat away at you. And people start to wonder why they don't trust themselves, why they don't have a high level of self-belief or self-confidence. It's because they keep telling themselves they're going to do things and they don't follow through on it. So you can look at that. Look at your life. How many times have you told yourself in the past week that you're going to do something and you haven't followed through on it? That will eat away at you over time. So basically commit to less. And whatever small promises you do make to yourself, follow through on them. They are so, so important, especially in the long term. And as I say on almost every single episode, this comes back to speaking less and acting more. Don't tell everybody else what you're going to do. Follow through on your word, your own word. Tell yourself, I'm going to do this. Follow through on your word. Then you'll become more confident. Because how many times have you told people you're going to do something and then you don't follow through on it and then you feel bad, you feel terrible? Start by just committing to yourself. Tell yourself you're going to do something, follow through on it, and your actions will show other people. People start to realize, holy shit, you've been going to the gym a lot. Yeah, I've been going 3 times a week. Because you told yourself you were going to go 3 times a week. You do not need to tell other people that. Keep it to yourself. It's something that a lot of people think is like, oh, if I share my goals with others, it will keep me accountable. Sometimes, but a lot of the time it doesn't make a difference. In fact, it gives you this huge spike in dopamine because you're speaking about your goals, you're getting excited by them. And then when it actually comes to it and you have to get up early to go to the gym, you don't do it because it's more difficult than you thought. So again, keep these things to yourself. Do the things that you say you're going to do. It's where confidence comes from, self-confidence, and it's also how others begin to trust you. A really important rule, and as soon as I started to prioritize that in my life, a lot of things changed for the better. Now this next one is a stoic concept. I absolutely love it. And it's not what happens to us in life that defines us, it's how we respond to it. Now this is Stoicism at its core, which is an ancient philosophy, a Greek philosophy, which basically has this idea that in life there is very few things that we can completely control. The thing that we can always control is how we respond to things. It's like things will go wrong in life. You will maybe lose a job, you will lose a loved one, smaller things than that. Things won't go the way you want. Maybe you'll miss a train, maybe you'll miss something else, you'll lose money. These things will happen. However, if you start to build the mentality and the realization that these things are going to happen, then you're much more likely to be able to deal with them. The example I always use is imagine you're waiting for a train. There's you and somebody else, you're waiting for a train, and you hear in the overhead that it's cancelled. The train's been cancelled. You've got to get to work, the other person's got to get to work. There can be 2 different responses here. One person can go crazy and say, oh, this is shit, I hate this, I can't believe this has happened, this is going to ruin my day. Or if you were the more optimistic and stoic person, you could say, right, okay, this isn't ideal, but how can I respond to this? Is getting angry going to help? Not in the slightest. You're causing your own suffering by getting angry. Nobody else has done that to you. It's happened. How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to respond to it? So one of the key things that I've noticed throughout life, the people that I begin to admire, I never knew this about them at first, but now I see it. The people that I truly admire in life are the people that don't complain, they don't moan, they respond to things in the best way possible. Because again, they're not defined by what happens to them. You're defined by how you respond to it. You're going to go through shit. How are you going to respond to it? Are you going to put your arms up in the air and take the victim's mentality and say, oh, poor me, why me? That's up to you. Or you can choose to be the type of person that responds with, as the Stoics would, with courage, with temperance, with justice, with wisdom. That's their 4 virtues that they choose to respond with. So again, a really, really important one. And to me, it helped me gain a lot of peace, knowing that I can't control a lot of things. See if something happens, I don't know, maybe someone says something to me, I can't control that. They've done that. That's them that said that. So rather than me getting tied up in it and overthinking it, how can I change this? How can I do that? I can't. But I can control how I respond to that. So it gives you a great deal of power and it can give you a great deal of peace because that is all you're focused on. You're not focused on other people and how they act. You're focused on you and how you can respond. It gives you power in that way. So again, it's like when I spoke about the idea of missing the train, you have a choice. Do you complain or do you learn? It's the same with any failure in life. I've had businesses that failed. I've had relationships that have failed. What do? Do I take the good from it? Do I learn from it? Or do I sit and complain about it and say, oh, poor me. Oh, well, it only happened because of this or that. No. I learn from it. I'm grateful for that it's happened and I move on. I respond to it in the best way possible. That's always the goal of a Stoic, is to respond to things in the best way possible, which is going to be difficult. I'm not saying this is easy. This is something that takes years to get better at, and I'm still in the early stages of that. We're always going to respond emotionally initially. Like the first few seconds, you're going to be angry, you're going to be frustrated, but it's after that. That's the judge of your character. How do you respond? Pythagoras, you've probably heard that in maths, but he was a philosopher. He once said, in anger, refrain from both speech and action. And it's a really easy thing to say. It's a very difficult thing to do. But when you are angry, when you are frustrated, distance yourself as much as you can. Give yourself time, because nothing good comes from anger. Because again, that'll affect how you respond. Do you respond with anger? Or do you give yourself some time and be more calm about it? A really important thing to respond there. But the way the Stoics see it is this idea of the dichotomy of control. It is that most things in life we cannot control. We can always influence them, but we can never fully control them. The one thing that we can always fully control is how we respond to things. So that's what I want you to take from this lesson. Again, things will happen to you in life that you cannot control, but how do you choose to respond to it? That is up to you, and it always will be up to you. The next lesson is whether you like it or not, people are going to judge you based on your appearance. Now, this comes from our evolutionary roots. Like, humans are inclined to judge people. It's human nature. It's like hardwired. It's deep rooted in us. And this comes from the idea of, like, you think of, this is something I love about human nature, right? So many of the things we do in life, the way that we act, comes from these evolutionary roots. It comes from thousands of years ago, how we acted, because we acted for survival. Like, you think of the flight or fight response. You've probably experienced it. That time when you either freeze and go away, or you choose to, you get a spike in adrenaline or whatever. Like, it's a survival response almost. And that again comes from these evolutionary roots. So to explain that a little bit further, this is basically what happened again thousands of years ago. Those who could accurately assess others' intentions and capabilities were more likely to thrive within a group and pass down their genes. Now, today we live in an abundance of comfort. We have everything we could ever need. But thousands of years ago, you had to fight to survive. It was about survival. It was about nothing else. The human race wanted to survive. It was ingrained into our DNA to survive, which meant passing down your genes, which meant reproducing. Now, a long time ago, this meant that you had to judge other people. You had to know what their intentions were. Were they capable? Were they going to overpower you? Were they not? And because of this evolutionary route, we tend to judge people based on their appearance. We judge a book by its cover. People always say they don't, but you do. So it's an important thing to know that this is human nature. You cannot change that. People will judge you based on how you look. Now, not only others will judge you, but you will judge yourself. This is like one of the best things you can do, not just for your physical health, but for your mental health, is get in good shape. Like, if you like the way you look and you like the way you feel, you're going to be so much more content. You're going to be happy when you're on holiday. You can take your t-shirt off. You don't need to worry about what you're wearing when you're out and how people are going to look at you, because you're more content in that. So it's a thing that I've really taken on board, has been that. It's like, people will judge you. Okay, that's fine. But you will also judge yourself. So it's important to be aware of that. How many times in your head have you said horrible things to yourself? Oh, you look rubbish. You look stupid. You look this, you look that. If you take care of your appearance, you're going to start to change that. And even just understanding this is a key principle. Understanding that, yes, people will judge you. If you want to impress people walking into a room, you may want to look better. You may want to be in better shape, wear better clothes. That might happen again, but understanding it is a really important thing to do. It's not that we change all of our actions based off how people are going to judge us, but we understand that other people and you will judge yourself based on how you appear, on how you look. So again, it's like, when I think of this in terms of the way that you look, think of how proud you would be to be happy about your look, about your physique, the way you look and you feel. Think how good that would feel. That's something worth pursuing. If you can have a body and a mind that you like, that you are impressed by, you're going to feel so much better, because we will naturally judge ourselves. Now, these things in life are obviously, they're earned, they're not given, which takes me really nicely onto one of my favorite quotes, that basically everything good in life has to be earned. It is never given out to us. So this Naval Ravikant quote, he says, "A fit body, a calm mind, and a house full of love. These things cannot be bought, they must be earned." And it's honestly it's a big tie to my life's mission, I suppose, is to have those three things: a fit body, a calm mind, and a house full of love. Like your family, your relationships, again, a calm mind, good mental health, a fit body, good levels of physical health. If you have all those three things, you cannot buy them. Doesn't matter how rich you are, how successful you are, you can't get those things. You need to earn those things. And that's what I want you to think about. A lot of my actions are based off of those three things, because I want those three things. Now, going back in terms of based off how other people will judge you, it's really important to know that based off this, it doesn't mean that we should try and appease everybody else. It means that you should care less about that. Because if you expect people to judge you, that's fine. It's like Marcus Aurelius says that in the Meditations, about every single day that you should prepare yourself for people to be rude, to be ungrateful, to be dishonest. If you prepare for that and you realize that this is human nature, you're much more likely to be able to deal with it. And again, don't expect to naturally feel good about yourself. That has to be earned too. If you want to feel good about the way you look and feel, then you have to put in work towards that, because whether you like it or not, you will judge yourself based on how you look, and other people will too. So again, this is something to be very aware of. It's something that helped change a lot of things in my life, just from a perspective. In fact, one of the most powerful things from that was that idea that people are going to judge me whether I like it or not. I could be in great shape. I could have a great business or whatever, great friends, great family. People are going to judge you. So once you realize that, you can care less about it. Now, the next lesson is success is a relative term. I heard this probably 5-6 years ago from Jim Rohn, and I absolutely love this term. Success is a relative term, and what I mean by that is choose for yourself what that is. What is success to you? If I asked you right now, what is success? What would a successful life look like? You're probably thinking, shit, I don't know. You'd probably say something about money, about a job, maybe about family, something like that. That's fine. Very surface level answers, which is okay. But I would encourage you to think about it a little bit more. What is success to you? Like being a good person. What's a good person? What about that would make you a good person? These things are really important questions to ask of yourself, because once you understand what for yourself success is, you can work towards it, and you stop being dragged around by everybody else's definition of success. Because we go through life, and let's say you could be absolutely crushing it, doing everything you love to do, living a life you love, and then somebody could say to you, oh, well, you don't have this much money, so you're not successful. And if you take that to heart and you do not have a clear level of what success is, then you're going to suffer, because you're going to desire something that you don't even want. It's like money might not be that important to you. That's absolutely fine, but make it clear. And there's a way that Jim Rohn says to do this, and he basically says, or things that he adds to it, he says, like, in terms of success, what is success? Success is an inner idea that is followed persistently with courage. Now, you'll see that he didn't say anything about the idea or the goal being achieved. He says it's the inner idea followed persistently with courage. That is success. So if you have this idea of the type of person you want to be, maybe it's a career you want to have, whatever it is, and you follow that persistently, you are becoming successful. You're living a life that is successful because you're pursuing something. It's the whole idea of the pursuit of constant improvement. Not to have one thing that makes us successful, but to have an idea of the type of person we want to be, and then we pursue that consistently, persistently. And once you do that, that's a successful life, because you're becoming better day in, day out, week in, week out. You become a better person. So again, that's where a lot of my idea of success came from Jim Rohn. The other thing he said about that is any outer achievement that is related to that idea. So like if you want to be, I don't know, if you want to build a successful business and anything comes up related to that, it could be something small, could be someone saying how they really like your business acumen or whatever. That's a good level of success. So these wee things. So again, success is an inner idea that's followed persistently with courage, and any outer achievement related to that idea can be defined as success. However, and me telling you that, that's what Jim Rohn says. You define for yourself what success is. It's so important that you define for yourself what that is. Otherwise, you'll follow what everybody else thinks is successful. And then what happens is you'll get to a stage in your life when you're like, fuck, I've been following this thinking that I'm going to be successful. I have this much money, or I have this type of wife, or I have this type of partner, whatever it happens to be. And then you realize, fuck, I didn't even want that. It's what other people told me I should have. Make it clear for yourself, because again, success is a relative term. It means different things to different people. Now, one last thing. This is the quote I'm going to leave you with today, and it's not necessarily overly related to this. It's just something that I've really took on board over the past month or so. The last month of my life, personally, I've made a lot of big changes, all positive things, but it's meant that things have been, how do I say it, difficult at times, obviously, like in a good way, because I'm growing and improving because of it. But this quote that I read really fucking helped me. Like, it really started to help me change my perception on something. It's something that I've known for a long period of time, but it really helps when you're reminded of it. And it was a quote from Morgan Freeman. It's in, he plays God in Heaven Almighty, right? And he says this quote. It's an amazing quote. And he says, if someone prays for patience, you think God gives them patience? Or does he give them an opportunity to be patient? If he prayed for courage, does God give him courage? Or does he give him an opportunity to be courageous? Now, the whole point in that quote is, like, we all have these goals in life. We all have this idea of wanting to be a disciplined person, a happy person, a courageous person, a patient person. But if that is what you want, you have to realize what it takes to get there. It's like we don't just become these people by thinking about it. We are tested throughout life. So whatever's happening to you right now, if there's any form of difficulty, any form of challenge, any form of resistance in your life, rather than you looking at that and seeing that as a negative thing and saying, oh, why me? Why do I have to experience that? Realize that this is good. Like, you want to become this type of person. If you want to be courageous, you want to be strong-minded, you want to be disciplined, you want to be patient. These are the things that are going to help you become that. So rather than seeing these difficulties as bad things, see them as tests. Because again, if we think of it in that aspect, it's like if someone prays for patience, nobody just gives them patience. They're given opportunities to become patient. They're given tests. So some that I've really had to dial in on over the past 4 to 6 weeks is like, see these difficulties, see this resistance that you're facing right now. This is good. Because the type of person you want to become will thrive off of this. This is what helps you become patient. This is what helps you become disciplined and all of these things. So I hope that makes sense for you. Because again, we see these things in life as opportunities. And again, just to repeat what we went over, nothing is given in life. It's earned. Anything that you have that is valuable to you has been earned. It is not given. So I hope that serves as a pleasant reminder for you today. The one last thing before I leave you for today's episode. If you like these podcasts and you enjoy them, there's 3 ways that I can help you. Now, the first one is, of course, this podcast. I have over 40 episodes, 45 episodes now of this podcast. So if you like it, listen to more. They're there for you. They're on YouTube, they're on Spotify, wherever you're watching this. Another thing that I have is through my Instagram, I have some free resources to help you with your fitness and your self-improvement. I have free training programs, I have weekly review structures, I have reading lists, I have so many things. So if you ever want anything like that and you feel like it would help you, message me on Instagram. Like, I am a normal person. I'm here to help people. So if anything you ever need like that, drop me a message. If I've got a resource for you, I will send it over for free. I create these things for free. And then the last thing that I offer is, of course, one-to-one coaching. Now, if anything I ever speak about in these episodes is like, holy shit, I totally get this guy. Like, he gets me. Then there's a very good chance that we would work well together. So if you are somebody who wants to develop your physique and create a routine that you can be proud of, then I might be able to help you with that. Again, best way to find that out is through Instagram. Drop me a message. But I just want you to know that whatever you need, I am there. I am a normal person. Reach out to me on Instagram. But yeah, I hope you found this episode valuable. I loved recording it. I loved writing about it because, again, as I said in the beginning, these are huge, huge lessons which have changed my perspective and helped change my route in life. So I hope you can take something from this episode, and I hope you can apply it to your own pursuit of constant improvement. Thank you for listening.